DJ, take it from here. What are we talking about?
Thank you so much. My name is Chandra J. Mranyabaisi, and I'm going to host this podcast today. And today's topic, we are going to talk about why most of the African businesses die at their struggling stages, where 70% can last 6 months, and 90% of the businesses can see their first birthday.
Yeah, the statistics are very dire. The failure rates or the infant mortality rate of African businesses is unsustainable. 70% plus in the first 6 months, and 90% plus don't see their first birthday. For a poor continent like Africa, this Silicon Valley failure rates are not sustainable. They need to be corrected. They need to be, better systems. We celebrate the launches of, startups, but don't care about the survival rate. And that should change. Business survival also is important, because every failure is costing the society a lot of resources, a lot of headaches, a lot of misery, and so you've been involved with a number of youth organization, youth entrepreneurship, or youth activities.
Yes.
What good examples of youth entrepreneurship schemes do you have in Rwanda?
Okay, thank you for the podium. My name is Mumza Belon, and I'm one of the students leaders in the UNLAC in the law department. I'm working right now with an international business company called Bed Power Company from Izon Company, which was also international.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, about your question, most people are facing this problem because they think that after education, they will go further and they start up with their businesses, not knowing that even the earliest people or the richest people, the richest entrepreneurs in
the world,
they never took this initiative first of completing the schoolings. Most of them
are dropouts. Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, most of them are dropouts.
Mm.
Even Elon Musk didn't finish his course.
Mm.
So and it is not okay to be an entrepreneur. You don't need no degree.
Mm.
You don't need no qualification. You don't need no certificate.
Mm.
The education system is designed to produce servants, not entrepreneurs. There is not a single school in the world that
Yes.
teaches entrepreneurship, that is designed to empower entrepreneurs. All the schools are designed in 200, 300 years ago, when the peasants, the farm workers started working into factories because of the Industrial Revolution. They needed mechanics, they needed operators, they needed this, and so that's why how education system came about. That same system we are using 300 years later.
Yes.
Nothing has changed.
Exactly.
Which shouldn't be the case. Today we have access to more information, we have access to more education, we have access to more resources, better technologies. And AI is going to revolutionize the way we all work. In my example here, we used to do video editing manually. Now we use AI. What we could do, with two people in 2 days, this thing is doing it in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Opus Clip is clipping my long form videos into reels, into highlights, without any human assistance. Not only is it doing that, it's giving me the hooks, it's giving me the tags, it's giving me the descriptions, it's giving me the captions, all in one. So, but again, every technological revolution has created more jobs than it has destroyed. AI also is going to create more opportunities than it will destroy. Yes, it will destroy a few mundane, repetitive jobs, but it will be such a powerful tool in people who are willing to wield it. The African population could leapfrog, could use this as an opportunity to, leapfrog. They don't need to go through the same steps that the English or the Chinese did. What the English did in 300 years and what the Chinese did in 50 years. Because they were doing it 200 years later, they could shrink it down. They could be more efficient. Africa, if it puts its minds together, they could capitalize on this AI opportunity. They could leapfrog. There was a time when in India, landlines were so expensive and telephone was so expensive. And when the mobile revolution came, everybody has a mobile. There is no need for landlines. There is no need for these cling, cling, cling phones. Everybody switched from having to go to a public booth, to a shop where they had several public booths where you could make phone calls and receive phone calls. Now everybody has it in their hand. They didn't even bother laying the landlines. They just went straight mobile and satellite.
In addition on what I was talking about, you talked about the introduction of the AI and how they can be doing it or using it so efficiently. However, we have found a problem with the youth, most especially this what we call the Gen Z, the coming generation. They're using the AI instead of using it in a proper way or of benefiting.
They're using it instead of being used constructively. They're using it for destruction. Destructively.
Yes, destruction.
Okay.
Just for entertainment.
For entertainment, you find that instead of going further for the media, he learns something which is so essential. He meets up with the most people, like the way we met. It was a media chat that we had to meet. He finds out that for him to meet people who are essential like you, he can meet up with other things, like he goes for girls, he goes for beaching.
Obviously, these are teenage youths. They will have the hormones running, and they will do those things. But again, apart from doing all those things, if they are using, the way they are using effectively towards, pursuing for girlfriends or pursuing for sex or pursuing for other things, entertainment, the same technology that is a far superior technology. So they could use it also towards entrepreneurship, towards their studies. I find it easier to now ask Gemini or ChatGPT to search for somebody rather than me asking Google. Because it is more precise. It has the sources where it is speaking this information, and there is no distraction. Like in Google, there is ads going on the left. There is banners up and down and what. None of that in my ChatGPT or Gemini search. I prefer to do all my work and my search using AI compared to just typing something on Google. It's far more efficient, and yes, the youth need to be turned around. Okay, boys will behave like boys, girls will behave like girls, but they need to be transitioned from being boys and girls to being adults. And it is society's job to
So
do that.
as we are talking about that, and also I think so many people, as they're using that AI for making their work very easier and trying to get even all information that they need now. We are in the 20th century where information is available everywhere without hassling to get information.
There is no shortage of information. The world is there is abundance of information, and technology costs have come down. It is more or less free, virtually free.
So to some entrepreneurs in Africa, some businesses, they think that they need to work hard for their businesses to survive. When did you realize that word, I need to work hard? When did you realize that this is a lie, and how?
Okay, I was a director at my father's construction business in Nairobi, and in '95 I had to shift to UK, and UK working standards are different, and so the first day my uncle, I went on site and he gave me a breaker, one of these Kangos to break concrete, and being 25 years old, being tall and strong and whatnot, I survived that day, but I was so tired, so exhausted that I couldn't go to sleep. That same night I decided that this laboring is not for me. From being a director to being a laborer, that doesn't suit me. It doesn't work for me. My body is not built for it. The same night I started planning how I'm gonna become a boss tomorrow. The next morning I sat down with my uncle and said, "Uncle, how many properties are you building in a year?" And he says, "Harish, we do 1 or 2 properties." I said, "No, Uncle, I am now here. I'm going to take responsibility of the people today. We need to do 10. Yeah. You concentrate on buying and selling properties and bringing the material on site that I order. Everything else I'll manage on site." And that's how I became a working foreman the next day. And looking at this hard work notion, yes, we all have to work hard, but it doesn't mean that we have to sweat. You've been to Nairobi, the Mukokoteni guys, or the bicycle, transport guys, the pedal bicycle transport guys. They're sweating left, right, and center. They are really working hard, but they get paid peanuts.
Yeah.
So hard work is not a solution for better pay. Yeah, you may sweat more, you may burn more calories, you may eat more calories, but that's not a solution. The brain is far superior to the human body, human muscles. Human muscles have a limit. The strongest man can only lift maybe, half a ton for a few seconds. But he uses his brain, creates a crane. He can lift 5,000, with just a press of a button. No sweat required, no effort required, no muscles required. Yeah, the brain's capacity is infinite. The human muscles capacity is limited. So, working with limited abilities, you're going to get limited results. Working with unlimited abilities, you're going to get unlimited results. So, using the brain, more effectively is a far sure way. If I look at the UK, labor industry, a labourer is paid around 10 pounds an hour. A plumber, electrician is paid around 20 pounds an hour. An engineer, architect is paid around 50 pounds an hour. Now lawyer is paid 150 pounds an hour. And these are deliberately set by the society. It was not my, it was not my business's policy to pay these people. It was the government norm that, mandated the minimum wages. Yeah, and I'm not compelled, or it doesn't require, because the competition makes it so that I don't have to pay more than that basic need. But if you want to break those shackles, you want to break those ceilings, then entrepreneurship is the only way. Because in entrepreneurship, there are no limits. You set your own limits.
Yeah. So, Benon, don't you think that is one of the reasons that are limiting youth here in Rwanda to access the potential businesses?
Actually, when you've been talking about easing the work, first of all, I thought about one thing before replying his question. I thought about how do you see if you say that a machine can lift over 100 tons with just a pressing of a button, but a normal person can't even lift that half a ton. how do you, I thought about technology in Africa, which is one of the things that has brought the beginning of Africa and being behind in everything most times. How do you think if, because right now in education until now in the universities, as you've been saying, it has never changed before. Until then, there is, until then, the same boards, the same teachers, the same teaching,
structure.
the same structures.
Mhm.
How do you think if people start looking forward for what is the change in schooling, teaching students the technology? Rwanda now is doing good in teaming up with technology, lifting people in different strategies of.
Yeah, it is a breeding ground for adapting new technologies.
Yes.
You know, it was the first one to adapt the zip line, delivery drones. It is now the first country in Africa to approve, robo taxis,
Yes.
flying taxis. And so, okay, technology is a big enabler. And yes, it is also a distraction. So people are glued there to their phones, they're TikToking, they're, playing games, they're doing things. But again, technology is a huge enabler. It can allow, millions of people to be lifted. And there was a time when I used to go on holidays, I used to carry a camcorder for my videos. I used to carry a camera for my pictures. Then I used to have a dictaphone. I used to have this, and now I need only one phone. So, it has made, it has brought, so many technologies in one device. My torch, my calendar, my diary, my bank, my credit card, my, computer, everything is in my palm now.
They were compared together.
Yeah.
All in one.
So, and technology, as it is a big enabler. Now I don't have to carry those camcorders. I don't have to carry that camera. I don't have to carry that dictaphone. I don't have to carry that calendar. I don't have to carry a watch. I don't even have a watch now because the phone has the watch. It has my calendar. It has many things. So, it is an enabler. And Africa is in a privilege if it uses this new technology. It trains its workforce in the new technologies faster than any other. One of the reasons why Rwandan economy is doing well is because of not only because of the good governance, but also this attitude to adapt quickly to new technology. It is one of the cheapest broadband or internet fees in the whole of the continent. It has uninterrupted electricity, very little blackouts, very little power fluctuations is happening. It has very beautiful, well-built roads with no potholes. Even London is full of potholes. Yeah, and London has the worst traffic problem in the whole of Europe because they keep digging the same roads. A gas man comes and digs it. Then 2 weeks later, a waterman comes and digs it. 3 weeks later, a cable man comes and digs it. It's just stupidity. So, good governance paired with superior technology, with superior training and superior education. Education is going to change. This notion that a school should only be used for 6 hours a day. The same school could be running in shifts. Poor countries like Africa can't afford to have schools for just 7 hours and then they're sitting 21 hours they're sitting empty. Why does that same primary school not do afternoon classes for secondary school? The same buildings, same chairs, same tables, same blackboard. India is doing it. They're thinking of even turning the universities into shifts. So there will be a morning shift, there will be an afternoon shift, and there will be an evening shift. That is maximizing the asset use. It's sweating the asset. Same asset being used 3 times is better than it being used only once.
Actually, in Rwanda now, it has been already initiated. The university handles 3 shifts, which is a morning shift and the evening shift. Then they have a weekend shift.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and that's actually on my university. That's what they always do. We study in the morning. For those people who work in the evening, they come in the morning, they study, they go for working. In the evening, the next shift that was working in the morning, they do come and do what? Study. And there is those people who always get fixed the whole weekend. I mean,
And they can use it on the weekends.
Yes.
So that's a good use of, for poor nations, that's a good use of same asset. So same buildings, same, blackboards, same, chairs and tables can be used 3 times, in a day rather than being used only once.
Yeah.
So in India, President Modi, Prime Minister Modi is trying to, say, okay, for a poor nation like India to build bridges across huge valleys dedicated just for trains is unaffordable. So, make it for dual purpose. It can carry cars. When a train comes, stop the cars, let the train pass, and then start using it again for the, for the motor vehicles. Why create 2 bridges, one just for trains, and the train only comes 2 or 3 times a day? The whole, 99% of the time, the bridge is underutilized or not utilized. Africa needs to adapt those kind of wisdom, where you're sweating your assets. And similar to physical assets, you also have to sweat your human asset. And that I've seen it time and again that a lot of Rwandese are doing many side hustles. They're doing a main business and they have side hustles, and that's human sweating. A lot of audience or viewers will say sweating is, using the word sweat is a derogative, but I don't have another better word for it. But assets, let's say this cup, if only one person is drinking it once a day, that's an underutilization of this cup. If I finished using it, I give it to somebody else. He uses it 2 or 3 times. Somebody else uses it. That's a better use of this cup. Similarly, in cars, with this new mobility revolution of AI, robotaxis, what will happen is that the same, vehicle will do more trips without a driver needed. I'll book my taxi on my mobile, it comes, I jump in, it takes me to my destination, I get off, it picks somebody else, So it's, AI will create a future in which fewer cars are doing more trips. They're ferrying more people.
Reducing jam.
At the moment, if you look at every road, even in Kigali, I've been noticing, I use borders, but you look at the 90% plus of 4-wheelers are carrying just one person, the driver. It's a car that is being designed for 5 to 7 people. It weighs 2 tons and only ferrying a 100 kg person. That's underutilization. And again, just imagine the car, everywhere it is going, it is sitting somewhere. It is sitting in his house. It is, when he goes to work, it is sitting there. It's only ferrying him maybe in a week. Let's say we have over 1,000 hours. It's maybe ferrying him maybe less than 10 hours. It's being used 10 hours. It's the second most expensive asset after our homes. That is 95% of the time sitting somewhere, doing no work, and depreciating in value. It's rusting.
It's rusting, just there in the parking.
Yeah, it's being parked somewhere, at home or at work or at a supermarket.
Yeah, because most of them, even the world is having more than 4 or 5 cars, and you find that it even takes a full week without using one car.
Yeah, not only full, you may see that some cars are just sitting. There is one favorite car that everybody uses. The other cars are just sitting. Okay, that For wealthy people, that is affordable, but for a poor economy, it's not affordable. You know, I like the border statistics. A border that weighs 100 kgs is carrying 200 kgs of passengers or goods. That's far more efficient mode of transport. And it is making accessibility and private vehicle accessibility much more readily available. I like that model that Honda has adapted of motorbike taxis. It's a far superior, more efficient way of using a motor vehicle. And even if you look at the registration, 60% of all vehicle registrations are for two-wheelers. If you put the other, there are the three-wheelers, the tractors, the machines, the lorries and the four-wheelers, they all make only 40%. And even not only that, I came across a guy yesterday. He says that the economics, there are educated lawyers, educated. I came up. He grew up here. He was driven by a lawyer. A lawyer is driving a border in Kigali, and he's making more money than he practicing law. And I came across a graduate, maybe a logistics or procurement graduate or something. He's also using that because the economics works in the favor, and the electric borders are far superior than the ICE. They are faster, quieter, and the energy consumption is less than half.
Even the pollution of the environment is less.
People are not going to do it because of pollution reasons. They are going to do it because of money reasons. It is, let's say, an ICE motorcycle, uses 5,000 Rwanda francs in fuel. The electric guy is going to use only 3,000, maybe 2,000. So he's saving, for the same distance, he's saving 2,000-3,000 Rwanda francs. That is going into his pocket. That's better economics. People are switching to electrics not because of green credentials, they're doing it because of money. I used to use Uber a lot in London. And in the early days, most Ubers used to be hybrids, because Prius is mostly, Toyota Prius is, because there are, they could give you more mileage per gallon or per liter or whatever. Now, 70% of the taxi fleet in London is electric. I asked one of the drivers, what is the statistics? He says that I can afford to drive a Tesla in my taxi business now, because compared to my Prius, charging my Tesla, for he was doing on average 300 to 400 miles. In fuel he was paying around 80 or 90 pounds for weekly fuel. Now we're using an electric, it's costing him only 20. He's saving 60 pounds in just fuel per week, and that is going towards paying the lease of his Tesla, which is 199 or something per month. So the savings from his fuel is paying for the lease. He's driving the car for free, and as a result, he's booking more clients, he's doing more trips, and making more money. That is the reason why everybody is going electric, not because of green credentials. It's more money in their pocket.
Talking about that, you have ever helped more than 500 entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So what would you help us to get an image from your personal experience? One of the businesses that ever went lowest failure, and why?
I came across a woman entrepreneur. She works for an NGO. She's competent. She came up with an idea. Okay, we bought this house. They bought a house a little far away in the countryside, not far from Kigali maybe. And because they had the house, they built a house, and then they're saying, what are we going to do with this house? It's too far from the city for us to commute. The cost of commuting is going to, be more expensive than the savings that we are making in the rent. So she came up with an idea of, starting a cafe, starting lodging, using the rooms for lodging. Then,
Okay, use the house for business.
yeah. So turn it into a coffee shop, turn it into a bar, and turn it into a canteen, blah blah blah. And and because she's already full-time employed, she gives this idea to her husband to implement it. And they implement all these 5 or 6 ideas all at once and fail miserably, flat. They had to close all the businesses, they had to close everything, and now the place is empty. She comes to me with this another idea now that, okay, now she's told me about the failure, and I could see it in what you were saying, that starting all these different niches in one go in one time, it's a recipe for disaster. So that's overstretching oneself. She overstretched her. And the other thing is that it was her idea and she was not implementing it. She's leaving it to her husband to implement it, and that doesn't work. The person who comes up with the idea needs to implement on it. You can't leave it to a third party to execute on your ideas. You have to execute on it yourself. Once you have taken it to a certain level, then you can give it out to somebody. I used to run several businesses in London in construction properties and renewables. But you need a focused attention for a couple of years before it becomes sustainable for you to appoint a manager, appoint somebody else to run it for you. You can't just do 5, 6 businesses, all different things in the same time. It's not manageable, it's not doable. You focus on one, make it grow, then take another one. Even billionaires like Elon Musk are doing that. He started with Tesla, then got it going, running, and then he went into SpaceX and is now going into other things. But even they have to do that. Even when they have billions in their resources, they're not making the mistake of starting 5, 6 different businesses all at the same time. So you can't do that. You have to focus on what you're good at first, and then make it work, and then because you have the premises, you have the venue, you can then expand into other things, but not all at once. That was a recipe for disaster. And now that she wants to do this, she wants to do a pottery business, and she wants to do a coffee shop. And I'm saying to her, somebody who comes for coffee is coming to a home away from home. He wants peace. He's got children and maids and his wife bothering him at home. That's why he's coming to a coffee shop. And now you're bringing a pottery shop with mothers and kids next to the coffee shop. It's not going to work.
It's never going to work.
Yeah. So understanding your customers is the key point here. If you want to do a coffee shop, then create a coffee shop environment, free from noise, free from hassle, free from disturbances. People are using now coffee shops everywhere in the world to do their business from. People who are mobile workers, they are working. They don't like to be working from their beds. They want somewhere they can concentrate, they can focus, and that's why they're going to a coffee shop. So a coffee shop with a kindergarten type of activities.
It can never work. It can never work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Unless you make it as a cafeteria of the kindergarten.
Yeah, you can offer coffee to the mothers.
Yeah, but not as a business.
No. The mothers are there. You sell them a cup of coffee. That's a different business. because you're focusing on the poultry business, and coffee is just an additional revenue stream. But people who just come to relax and to work in silence and concentrate, they're not going to come.
And some of those business owners, they might think maybe the external problems like logistics are the ones that are causing the problems, or are using it as an excuse. So from your personal experience of the businesses that you have ever done, have you ever met the external problems like that almost you brought down to the graveyard of your business, and how did you overcome it instead of using it as an excuse?
Okay, more than country or law or whatever, what affected me is when I was doing construction, and I realized that most of my clients were making more money than I was making.
Okay.
Yeah, I was building a flat for them, they were buying it run down, I was doing it for them, and then they were selling it for a couple of millions more. And I'm saying, these guys are the ones who are making money. I'm just a glorified servant for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to be in that business of properties. So I went enrolled on a course, a property, course, and my teacher was a Nigerian black man, and he was a very good, competent teacher, but not a good businessman. We did a deal in which I had to transfer some funds to him, and he was going to buy me 3 flats as for my first venture into properties, and the guy did a runner with it. I lost 170,000 pounds. I was conned by Spencer Michael, my teacher, who I trusted, conned me with 170,000 pounds, and I could have cried about it. I knew I was not going to get it. This guy was, and I bought into this nostalgia. The guy was well spoken, well dressed. He had Rolexes and all these things, and bling bling everywhere. But also being a proficient teacher gave me the confidence that this guy knows what he's talking about, and I think if we could do a business, then he would deliver. But I was mistaken. And what I did with that loss is, instead of crying about it, I used his teachings and got and executed on a deal where I bought 10 Berkeley home flats, and turned them around. I flipped them. I made 370,000 pounds out of it. So that allowed me to overcome that loss of 170. Yeah, but you have to turn your calamities into opportunities. That comes with a mindset. It's to do with, it's not, I could have easily cried about it, and still be crying about it.
You leave it out. You could have cried over it and you leave it out, but you turned it into an opportunity.
Yeah, and that's what most entrepreneurs do. They use calamities and turn them around into opportunities. Yeah, but that comes with, I've been exposed to business from, I'm a fifth, my grandfather was a builder, my father is a builder, I am a builder, so I've been building, buildings like this that we are sitting in, and I'm good at it. But when I'm now here back in Africa after 35 years of living in UK and Europe, I'm more interested in building businesses, building people, rather than building buildings. I think my experience and my inclination towards teaching rather than doing will be more useful in the African context back 35 years later. So I haven't announced it in public, but I want to help 1 million millionaires in the next 25 years. and it's a larger than life goal. It's similar to what Elon Musk has of about going to Mars, making humanity multiplanetary. And when he initially said it, 30 years back, people used to laugh at him. That you want people to live on moon, you want people to live on Mars. You are Dulali, you're crazy. But he's made it happen. He's built the first reusable rockets. He's now building the Starship that can lift 100 tons, to space and to moon and Mars and everywhere. So, and it is going to happen in our lifetime. And it's the similar thing what happened to the Europeans when they discovered America. Europeans were fighting among themselves for hundreds of years, for thousands of years, and then Christopher Columbus discovers America. The Europeans invade America. They decimate the local population with the European diseases. America becomes the biggest resource in gold, silver, cotton, whatever you want for Europe, and that's what allowed Europe to be where it is today. And similar thing is going to happen with the colonization of Mars and Moon and everything. So that will be the next frontier. But bringing back to ground, it looks futuristic for people, somebody who's not even having 2 full meals a day. Bringing it back on ground, society structures labor in such a way that because the most abundant labor class gets paid the least. So people who just want to work with their physical body, laborers, get paid the lowest. They may be working or burning the highest amount of calories, but they are so abundant, so readily available that their demand and value decreases. If you want to be paid more, then you need to you need to stand out from those laborers. Come and say, I can do fixing, I can do plumbing, I can do plastering, I can do bricklaying. Then you will be paid 2 or 3 times more than the laborer. Acquire a skill that differentiates you from the masses, which are the labor classes.
And also, I think also it will have something to do with the mindset. And mostly, I'd like to ask you, what was your most painful internal bottleneck that you had to kill in yourself so that you overcome these challenges? And how much do you think this one habit costed you in a month or in a year before you change it?
Okay, that's a very good question, a difficult one to answer, and and thank you for asking me a probing question. I need to think on it and
take your time.
Come up with an example that works for the audience. I've met nearly 200 businesses over here and more than 500 people.
Here in Kigali or?
Here in Kigali in the last 3 to 4 months. And the biggest reason they're coming to me is for capital. They're saying that we need capital.
Also the problem for them is the capital.
Is the money, or the lack of money, or the money is too expensive. Because interest rates in Africa are very high. It is true. And then this lady comes to me and says that I used to run a boutique dressmaking business, and I have the machines, I have the clothes, I have everything, but I can't afford the rent, so I had to close my shop, and now I've brought it at home. And she's looking for funding. And I'm saying, you have the clothes, you have the garments, you have the raw material to build new dresses. If I gave you an order of 1,000 dresses, pre-orders where you get the money in advance and you price in the profit in that pricing, will that solve your cash problem? And that woman says ironically, no. Because she's sitting with a begging bowl, she wants the clink, clink, clink noise. She doesn't think that pre-orders is also clink, clink, clink. Is that, that needy mentality that is restricting a lot of growth. You don't, I've seen, and from all the people that I've met, they don't have a money problem, they have a sales and marketing problem. If you are invisible, you expect to open the shutters and expect customers to flock in, it's not going to happen. This is not, 18th century or 19th century where that anarchic, brick and mortar, a business model works. Today you have to go on social media, you have to drum up business from left, right and center. They're not just dependent on the footfall in the market stall that you are in. You have to, you have to use technology. It is there for it to be used. Those people who are using it are doing better with it, are performing, making more profits, making more sales. So it is a tool, it is an enabler, it is a leverage. Use it, and stop being afraid of change. Change is here to come. Nobody is going to be able to stop the progress of AI. Nobody is going to stop the progress of robotaxis. Nobody is going to stop, society and technology from advancing. Our smartphones are getting smarter every day. The first smartphone was the dumbest phone of all the, when Steve Jobs came out with the first iPhone, Nokia and Motorola and BlackBerry, the old dogs used to laugh at it. Who's gonna buy this $600 phone? And today, where are they?
Nowhere to be seen.
They're all dead. And the smartphone is improving every day. Today's smartphone 19 or 17 or whatever it is, iPhone is much better than the iPhone 1. So if established businesses are using feedback from customers to improve their product, why not an African entrepreneur? That's what I told that guy who was making this a trading robot. I said, instead of you working it out all on your mind, go out into the world. And then ironically the guy accepted my advice, went out, he begged 6 clients paying him $250 USD to try this beta version. I said, that's a good achievement, but I want you to do something else. I want you to offer a lower priced product. Just don't stick to one price. Even in airlines, you have to, you have a economy class, you have a business class, and you have a first class. Why not in your business? So I said, you need to, make it easier for people to try your robot. So offer something for, maybe $5 or $6. Maybe you do it only for 2 or 3 days. They test it out. They like it. They'll buy the $50 package. That way, you can have 1,000 people paying you $5, and from that you convert some of them into $250 clients, rather than just sticking to 250, because a lot of Africans can't afford the 250 subscription. They can afford a $5 subscription, and that also opens up, his data collection immensely, because people who can afford, a $5 package will be in thousands. People who can afford his $250 subscription may be in tens. So he can scale his business much faster that way.
And if you check upon it, it's one of the things that is affecting right now the youth. They only think about the business, but they don't put it into initiation. They don't try even to begin. Yet the beginning I think is the most hardest thing. But if you continue within the business, you can make it.
Yeah, and it's all, you do more, you learn more through doing than just thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, thinking, the world is not short of ideas. There are plenty of ideas that have been shelved and sitting in people's minds and in their books and in their, in their laptops. The world is not short of ideas. The world is short of implementers.
Implementers, yeah, exactly.
An entrepreneur differs from the rest of the population is that he doesn't only have an idea. He has a way to bring it to life. He has a way to implement the business around it. So, that's how, entrepreneurs differ from the rest of the population, is that the ideas may be even basic. Most entrepreneurs, we don't go for fancy ideas. It's the creative people who come up with these fancy ideas, and then we see this. It's like McDonald's, when McDonald's came across this McDonald brothers, the guy who bought the McDonald's franchise from these guys. He was an ice cream salesman. He was selling ice cream machines, and he came across this two brothers who came up with a very efficient way of producing burgers at scale, with a very limited choice, limited budget, and and it was very popular because people don't like confusion. If you give a child 5 cornflakes in the morning and say Susan, what are you going to have today? And they're going to scratch their head and say, I'm not feeling hungry. I'm not going to have anything. It is called paralysis of choice. When you give too much choice, they get confused. And they decide not to choose at all. Yeah? Yeah, so instead of that, if I gave them 2 choices, I said, Nancy, today you're going to only have either chocolate popo, or you're going to have cornflake. Which one are you going to choose, Nancy? And Nancy, I'll go with the choco pop. The decision is done. By limiting choice, you're increasing acceptance. You're decreasing clutter. When sometimes you feel that in restaurants you see they have a 20-page menu. Bloody hell, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and that's why most times.
For every item, you need to have a you need to have a chef. You need to have a table for it. You have to have ingredients for it. Bloody hell, McDonald's does so well because it has. They never make more than 21 items. They have a fixed menu. They take one out and put another one, but no number goes above 21.
That's why even me, sometimes I go to the hotel and I feel what to eat, I go out. Because of the big menu. They give you the menu, you see the lunch, pull. You see the break. So what you always do, salad for 2 pages. So what I always do, I walk out and
you go out to the Mandasi man outside.
Because the choice is very easy. The choice is very easy. So it's very true what you're talking about. People should be learning how to specialize, putting very few choices in front of the people so that they can be able to choose.
Yeah,
it's very true.
So, Mr. Benon, as one member of the student government at your university, I'd like to ask you this question. We're talking about how to kill the painful internal bottleneck, and then there is this I would say like a habit. The students they're in need of finances, they need a lot of things, and then this brings them to a lot of choices. And you find that the biggest problem, some people have this kind of attitude of saying yes to everything. What don't you think this is one of the being active is one thing, but also being active to everything, or being that kind of person who says yes. Accepting everything is also indecisiveness. Is a form of indecisiveness. You can't join
all the clubs in your school.
Yes.
Then you'll not go to any.
if any has any meeting, let's say meeting or any practice, you feel like you find when you're not going. Actually, the question was most people, they have no choice. They move with each and every choice that comes to the table. When I was still a student's leader at UNAC, we had an initiation that we could take. First of all, we make what we call a year or annual plan. This is a division of different activities that you're going to do from different sectors. We could do this in 2 weeks. It's not every time, because under human nature, whenever you do things repetitively and every time,
yeah, you become better at it.
You become like,
expert on
yes.
that. Yeah.
So what we could do, we could take in a month, we take tries doing something. In this, we went further. We paid for the our young woman. She got pregnant in her little age.
Okay, so a teenage pregnancy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after that, the parents had to abandon her and they pulled her out. She had to reach upon the offices. What I did, we had to initiate. First of all, within the membership, what we did, we could get only 1,000 per person in a week. And this 1,000, it could be a little money compared to the people who were 25 under the cabinet. We could go further with this little money and we present it in front of the office, telling them that this is what we were able to produce and agree. So it was an empowerment to see that the little we had, at least we managed to contribute that, and it would give them the mentality of supporting us and supporting that woman. It took over 3 months, and 4 months, the school had to adopt the woman with her child. You understand? So it was under the initiative that we took, the step that we took, that this lady was supported. You understand? It wasn't that.
It's that popular notion in the East where to fight darkness, you just need a candle. Yeah, you don't need bonfires.
Yes.
Bonfires are good enough, but just a candle in front of the right person, in front of the right eyes, dispels darkness.
It is under this courage that the lady now completed her schooling. After completing her schooling, they had to give her the job at the university, and the university still pays for the little child.
Okay.
That little child.
That's a success case, and success is sellable.
We could go further, and we go from these Muganda periods, and we look for the area that is so mostly shabby. In the days that there is no Muganda, we make a Muganda for ourselves.
Okay.
Yes, this saw the school saw the team. We made an initiation of everything that we could do, and it could attract the students to know that at least they have got a leadership in them.
Yeah, it enables leadership skills to be developed at school level.
Yes. So this is one of the things that if we could take steps as youth, first of all, and we don't think that laundering behind that we shall be doing it. We shall be doing it doesn't become a matter in a memory, but it becomes a what? We start initiating in it.
Yeah. Take the necessary steps and work on it, and you become better at it.
Yes.
It is only through doing that you will. It is only through implementation that you can turn it into money. Just thinking about it is not going to become money. You have to act on it. You have to implement on it. I think we've come to an end of our session today. Thank you for the lively debate, the youth and the probing questions from you, today I had to share a lot of my personal experiences. Yeah. All right, and we're done.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.